Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. It's our reading through the Tanak night, the 9th of April, 2025. Okay, we're in the book of Genesis, and we'll be reading chapters 21 through 25. Okay, we'll read them, about each chapter and break it down, and then we'll move on to the next chapter. Okay, go to our YouTube channel, The Prophets of Awakening. Check out our videos. We have over 1,000 or so videos that you can look at and examine. Get the meat out. Okay. All these videos will lead you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. You'd be greatly appreciated. And for those that want to support the channel, we have our Cash App at the bottom of the screen. So that too would be greatly appreciated. Okay, shalom and welcome to our channel, and welcome to our reading through the channel. Okay, we're gonna do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, Psalms. We have some current events, some need to know information. Then we'll open it up for questions or comments or dialogue. Then we'll go into our topic for discussion, which is we'll be reading 5 chapters out of the book of Genesis, which is chapters 21 through 25. Okay. Then we'll pick a scripture, break it down, then we'll close out. Okay. This moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts and all that he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Oh Lord, we come before thee this day, bow down, honoring and praising you and believing in you. And we thank you for your wisdom and knowledge that you have poured out upon us. And through your prophets, you reveal times that we, as Jacob's children, would endure the tribulation. Keep us, O Lord, and guide us and deliver us. And we see you now within the Holy Scriptures, O Lord, and we trust you with all our heart and all our soul. Keep not that silence, but shine forth on our enemies with thy great power and glory. Peace be unto thee. Okay. Over the Psalms. Okay. Okay, I'll read Psalm 91. It's God is a refuge and a fortress. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in him will I trust. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and thy buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrows that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor from destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh unto thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder, and the young lion and the dragon shall thou trample under feet, because he hath set his love upon me. Therefore will I deliver him, and I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble, and I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. So that was Psalms 91. God is a refuge and a fortress. Anybody have any comments, questions? two things, two verses. One is we talk about this all the time. It says right here that identifies who the Lord of hosts is. It says in verse 4, he shall cover me with his feathers. So the Lord of hosts got feathers. And under his wings shall thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and thy buckler. So he got wings and he got feathers. I mean, what else you need to know? And then we was talking about, yesterday that question was asked about the chaos, right? So we see right here it says, thou shalt tread upon the adder and the young lion and the dragon, right? Shall thou trample underfoot, because he hath set his love upon me, therefore I will deliver him, and I will set him on high, because, go back up. Okay, let me get it. Okay, here you go. Yeah, 7. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh. That ain't it. Yeah, here it is. 6. Nor for the pestilence that walketh in the darkness. You know what that is? We was talking about it yesterday. The wicked spirits. What his name? Mainsty, whatever. Those wicked spirits says. Nor for the pestilence that walketh in the darkness, nor for destruction that wasteth at noonday. So this pestilence that walk in the darkness is these wicked ass spirits, which is chaos. We know in Genesis, when he delivered them out of Egypt, it was at night. Okay, that's when they came. Any question or comment? Okay, got some current events.
A few hours later, there was a pause put in on the tariffs. Can you walk us through what you were thinking about? What?
So Trump is back up on tariffs. He got 90 days. He didn't put a 90-day pause on. Okay.
Why you decided to put a 90-day pause?
Well, I thought that people were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippy, you know? They were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid.
We've got some major breaking news. The headline, a panicked and terrified Donald Trump has folded on his tariff plans. In a major policy reversal, Trump announced a 90-day pause on his massive tariffs after he sparked an economic crash globally. My name is Brett Meiselas with the Midas Touch Network. Remember to hit subscribe now and add the Midas Touch podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Stocks were collapsing, the bond market imploding, the 10-year treasury yield was skyrocketing, indicating that mortgage rates and other loans were about to skyrocket. So naturally, Donald Trump did what he does best. He caved. Effective immediately, all of the tariffs will be capped at 10% for the duration of a 90-day period, with those additional higher tariffs being paused. The only exception is China, which will now face a dramatically increased tariff rate of 125%. So I want to be extra clear here just for a second. Trump has still put a 10% tax on virtually everything Americans will buy. Costs for businesses will still be higher. Prices for Americans will still be higher. Trump announced the pause on his Truth Social website, writing the following, quote, based on the lack of respect that China has shown to the world's markets, I am hereby raising the tariff charge to China by the United States of America to 125%, effective immediately. At some point, hopefully in the near future, China will realize that the days of ripping off the USA and other countries is no longer sustainable or acceptable. It's always projection with this guy, right? Let me continue. Conversely, and based on the fact that more than 75 countries have called representatives of the United States, including the Departments of Commerce, Treasury, and the USTR, to negotiate a solution to the subjects being discussed relative to trade barriers, tariffs, currency manipulation, and non-monetary tariffs, and that the countries have not, at my strong suggestion, retaliated in any way, shape, or form against the United States, I have authorized a 90-day pause and a substantially lower reciprocal tariff during this period of 10%, also effective immediately. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So yes, we are seeing this popular meme play out again in real time. Trump makes a stupid decision, something really bad happens, he He convinces his followers the problem is now magically solved, and he then reverses his stupid decision, and the cycle repeats and repeats and repeats. It should be noted that Trump this morning encouraged his followers to buy stock, writing just hours before he made the announcement, quote, "This is a great time to buy DJT." Naturally, once Trump made the announcement, the markets had a massive jump. Market manipulation, anyone? The Trump propagandists kicked right into gear, calling this panicked reversal the art of the deal and pretending that Trump was not reacting to crashing the global economy and US bond markets. Trump's chief propagandist, Caroline Leavitt, was one of those people calling this the art of the deal. Listen to this.
If you've recently been injured in a car accident that wasn't your fault, I've got one.
Excuse me, Raquel, if I could just add to what the secretary said. Many of you in the media clearly missed the art of the deal. You clearly failed to see what President Trump is doing here. You tried to say that the rest of the world would be moved closer to China when in fact we've seen the opposite effect. The entire world is calling the United States of America, not China, because they need our markets, they need our consumers, and they need this president in the Oval Office to talk to them. And that's exactly why more than 75 countries have called, because the United States of America is the best place in the world to do business. And as the president has shown great courage, as the secretary have said, in choosing to retaliate against China even higher. Elena, go ahead.
It's so embarrassing. She literally did this meme. Trump goes, "I'm adding the tariffs." His followers go, "This will create jobs." Trump says he's removing tariffs. His followers go, "This is the art of the deal." And the cycle repeats. And if you're not feeling the secondhand embarrassment enough just yet, well, let me show you this clip of Benny Johnson. This was put together at Project Liberal, and in the first clip, you'll see Benny Johnson, a MAGA talking head who is literally being paid by Russia to spread pro-Trump propaganda, talking about the economic crash occurring under Donald Trump. He was telling his listeners that these are just numbers. Everyone loses money. It builds character. But in 2024, when Joe Biden was president and the stock market was down for a single day, he called it the Kamala crash, and he treated it like the apocalypse. Watch this.
Losing money costs you nothing. This is just the reality of life. Like, were you young and dumb? How much money did you lose? Everyone loses money. Everyone loses money. It costs you nothing. In fact, it builds quite a bit of character. In fact, you learn a lot of lessons actually by losing.
It's bloody Black Monday. Holy moly. The Kamala crash is here.
Kamala needs to get in front of a camera today. People are losing their homes today. People are losing their fortunes today. People are losing their futures today. People are losing their 401ks today. This is shaping up to be one of the worst market days in American history.
We've got a lot more to report. I'll be right back after this. Let's be real. Coffee isn't just a drink. It's a ritual, a lifeline, the bridge between half asleep and ready to conquer the mission. Watch this.
All this was driven by the president's strategy. He and I had a long talk on Sunday, and this was his strategy all along. And that, you might even say that he goaded China into a bad position. They responded. They have shown themselves to the world to be the bad actors, and we are willing to cooperate with our allies and with our trading partners who did not retaliate. It wasn't a hard message. Don't retaliate. Things will turn out well.
This is just typical loser and abuser behavior. You try to punish somebody, they react to protect themselves, and then you try to punish them more and blame them, saying that they were asking for it. Just, it's so disgraceful, this whole thing. Oh, and by the way, speaking of China, Fox is now reporting that any TikTok deal with China is now off the table. Watch this.
VAR was talking as of yesterday about not taking the win, and now they did, and it's all because of the bond market. I want to point out one other thing because of China. There will not be a TikTok deal, okay? That the White House has confirmed to me that is basically off the table.
As Roger Solenberger of the Daily Beast writes, quote, "The volatility of Trump's presidency seemed like it may function as its own kind of non-monetary tariff, eroding trade relationships without generating the additional tax revenue." And that really is the issue. I mean, Trump has lost complete control of the tariff narrative. He has proven himself to be an erratic and untrustworthy trade partner, an abuser of the global economic system. He offers no stability to businesses or governments. Under his leadership, there is no reason for our allies or our rivals to place any faith in the consistency of U.S. policy. And for American businesses, the uncertainty has to be paralyzing. How can a company justify sinking billions into building factories in the United States if those investments could instantly be undercut by a single tweet. Trump could raise tariffs, lower them, scrap them entirely at a whim, obliterating an entire business model overnight. There's no strategy here, no coherence, only chaos, and we all suffer because of it.
Okay, any comments on that?
Shalom.
Okay.
It would be interesting to know who are the 75 so-called countries that are calling them to make a deal. I don't believe anybody's calling. That's the first thing. The second thing is China is the main person or the main country we need to be trying to make a deal with. They're the one holding all the cards. America doesn't have any cards other than a bunch of boasting and false sense of bravo. They don't have anything, to me.
Exactly. Right. Just talking and saying stuff like I was saying. Same way in the New Testament. They just talking. It's not facts.
It's as if they think it's the 1800s and a word from them will make everybody fall in line. I mean, it's literally like that cartoon that came out 100 years ago of China, Africa, and India are like 100 feet tall, and America and Europe are like 1 feet tall. And they're trying to pop a whip against somebody that's 100 feet tall. It doesn't happen that way.
Right, exactly. Yeah, their time ran out, and they thinking that they still got power, but the power is being depleted. Anybody else? Okay. Go to this next one. I talked about this a little bit, but we can listen to it.
So, 420, and I'm not talking the number that everybody uses to describe marijuana, but 420 is also Hitler's birthday, April 20th. And, it's a big deal all around the world. There's an annual festival in Germany that draws over 100,000 people. It's not explicitly for Hitler's birthday, wink, wink, nod, nod. We have Nazi groups, neo-Nazi groups in Florida, Missouri, North Carolina, who have all organized events specifically to celebrate Hitler's birthday on April 20th. These include Adolf Hitler celebrations and gatherings marked as family-friendly to indoctrinate children into white supremacist ideology. In Georgia, a Georgia neo-Nazi posted a photo on social media of a swastika-decorated birthday cake that his girlfriend gave him in honor of Hitler's birthday. And at the Federal Correctional Facility in Florence, Colorado, a Hitler birthday celebration among white supremacist inmates escalated into a race riot involving over 200 prisoners, resulting in deaths as well as injuries. And this year, the celebration of Hitler's 136th birthday may be a bigger deal than past years, because that's the day that Donald Trump gets the report that tells him whether or not he can declare a state of emergency and invoke the Insurrection Act of 1807. On January 20th, when he became president, when he was sworn in, one of the very first, it may well have been the first, executive orders he signed that day tasked his Secretary of Defense, now Pete Hegseth, and his Secretary of HHS, now Kristi Noem, to collaborate and inform him on April 20th, what a perfect date, right, on Hitler's birthday, whether or not he could suspend the Constitution, which is exactly what Hitler got on March 27th? I'd have to go back and look, but it was 53 days into Hitler's chancellorship that he got the Enabling Acts passed, which was essentially the same thing. They said, the president can violate the Constitution because it's a moment of national emergency. The national emergency that Hitler pointed to was economic. It was the Great Depression. The national emergency that Donald Trump is pointing to is immigrants coming across the southern border, which is, by the way, pretty much stopped. The German ambassador to the United States, who knows well the significance of Hitler's birthday, wrote about this danger in a confidential but leaked briefing document. He said, Donald Trump's agenda is one of maximum disruption, bringing about a redefinition of the constitutional order, maximum concentration of power with the president at the expense of Congress and the federal states. Basic democratic principles and checks and balances will be largely undermined. The legislature, law enforcement, and media will be robbed of their independence and misused as a political arm, and big tech will be given co-governing power. Now, he wrote this the week that Trump was sworn in for the German government and accurately predicted exactly what's going on. Of course, he's the German ambassador. I mean, you know, the guy has read history. So when you start seeing the institutions of a country bending to the will of its leader, you know that you are quite a ways down the authoritarian road. And we're seeing this. Paul Wise and other major law firms have buckled to Trump. Republicans in Congress are using the threat of impeachment to attack judges, the independence of federal judges. Major multiple media outlets have already rolled over and are paying Trump off. You know, you recall CBS gave him, or was it ABC, gave him $15 million. Multiple universities have caved into Trump's demands that he arrest and deport their foreign students. Most concerning, though, is what he has planned for Hitler's birthday, which is the day that he learns whether or not he'll have a document that will give a patina of legalism to his declaration. 420. Now, it may be that this is also the number for marijuana, but it appears to be a favorite of Elon Musk, just FYI. According to the Tesla website, April 20th is Elon Musk Day, a moment to celebrate the underappreciated genius. He once tweeted he was considering making Tesla private at $420. He acquired Twitter for $54.20 a share. He once tweeted, "I was born 69 days before 420." But this year is the date, excuse me, that Trump gets his orders. And would he violate the Constitution? Would he violate posse comitatus? Well, he's already imposing illegal tariffs. The Constitution is quite clear. It's in Article 1, I believe Section 7, that maybe Section 9, that says that only Congress can impose tariffs. Now, I realize in 1973, I think it was, 74, Congress passed a law saying that in a state of emergency, the president could declare a tariff, which is what he's using right now, but that's pretty thin gruel. Also, his deportations without due process are illegal under the Constitution. Trump doesn't care. He's doing them anyway. Trump taking millions from the Saudis for his live golf tournament over the weekend at his a shabby golf resort. That's an illegal violation of the Emoluments Clause of the Constitution. He doesn't care. His hustling Tesla cars in front of the White House, it's an illegal violation of the Hatch Act. He could go to prison for that. He doesn't care. His hatchet man Musk, his wholesale firing of government employees and shutting down agencies that were created by Congress, that's illegal. He doesn't care.
Okay, any comments on that? What do you think?
Shalom. It sounds like they changed the government.
Okay, say that again.
Oh, excuse me. It sounds like they changed the government. Like it's not the same anymore. Like there's not the judicial branch, the legislative branch, and the whatever the third one is. Like the setup isn't the same. Yeah, it's a different structure.
Right. That's the whole objective, is to rearrange the government from where it was, and change the course of what was happening. Like I said, they saw how, especially blacks, was rising, and all these jobs and stuff. That's why they firing everybody, because they seeing that the blacks had risen in power over the whole spectrum of the United States, and they supposedly cutting that off.
Shalom. The other thing I think is interesting, they keep saying Trump is doing this. One man can't do this by himself.
Exactly.
Right. And so it's a whole army of people behind him ensuring that these things take place. He's the face of it. He's also the puppet and being probably ruled by a puppet master or masters, but they keep acting like he's doing this by himself, and he's not.
Exactly. Right. So I was saying before about these the same people. Like I said, when you go to the scriptures, Esau, Edomites, they the ones controlling the world, the bankers. These same people brought Hitler into power. They run the same old scheme. Like I said, they did it with Napoleon. They run the same old scheme they've been running. They got Trump out there, but he's only doing what they tell him to do. And what they want is, so many people keep forgetting or they don't really know, but when in World War II, they used Churchill and all them to get the land of Israel and become a nation in 1948. And they've been there. Now what they're doing now is they want to usher in the temple. And then they want to rule the world for 1,000 years from Jerusalem. That's what this is all about. These Edomites behind it. They pegging along. They accomplish one thing at a time. Every one of these world wars, they got closer to their goal, and now they right here where they want to. The objective is to, they want to get rid of those people that's over there in Israel, those Palestinians, and they want to rebuild that temple, and then they want to rule the world. When Jerusalem and Israel be the sole power, like America is right now. They want to replace America and be the ruling power. I'm gonna play a video on that in a minute. You know, so many people that don't understand that wouldn't get what this guy's talking about, but I get it perfectly. So that's what we're looking at. He an idiot, you know. So like I said, he don't know the mechanics on all the stuff that all the executive powers, executive orders that he making. You don't have the mental capacity for that. There's somebody else doing that. He's just a puppet that's sitting there, right, signing them. Anybody else? Okay, so here we go right here. This is what I was talking about. Remember what I had said too about, here we go.
Calling recession and calling BS on Donald Trump. That's the subject of today's video, and today was one of the wildest days you'll ever see in the market. And let's just jump right in. This is BlackRock chief Larry Fink. He says, hey, I'm talking to CEOs, they see a recession. Let's see what he has to say here.
Right now,
so this one of them right here, this dude Larry Fink, he's an Edomite, dual citizenship, America and Israel, and he's a Zionist, and he's a high-powered banker.
Areas that, in my mind, in the short run, are very inflationary and destabilizing the economy, and that's what we've been talking about. But if we can find ways of rebuilding growth through these agendas, and then, you know, as I said at the beginning, the market declines, and we're going to look back and say this might be a good entry level to get back into the market.
Are we headed for a recession? Are we in a recession?
Most CEOs I talk to would say we are probably in a recession right now.
Right now.
A couple of airline CEOs told me, one CEO specifically said, the airline industry is like a proverbial bird in a coal mine, canary in the coal mine, and I was told that the canary is sick already. If you look at what's going on in air traffic and how people are changing and how so many people who, like Canadians, who are not coming to the United States, we're seeing in various different sectors a real downturn.
So I guess the canary is sick. And again, he's saying he thinks we're in a recession already. Trump made things worse. He tweeted out, "It's as a threat to China." I told you guys in the prior video. I guess we're raising tariffs again, another 50% or something. It's hard to know exactly what their math is. They just seem to be making stuff up on the fly, which I'll show you in a minute here. But evidently, China has, I guess, till tomorrow. It's like this crazy ultimatum. I mean, how do you make business with something like that? On top of that, you got Bessent out there. He's been talking and touting a bunch of deals. I want to show you, though, a little bit of what they've said so you understand that these guys basically just lie and make crap up. So here's Bissett saying, I'm not going to be a part of any deals. I'm not in a deal. Just have a listen. You'll see what I'm saying.
Plans for conversations or a trip to Beijing?
Nothing imminent.
When it comes to this negotiation, April 9th, these tariffs come in place. Do you plan on having negotiations before that date?
Again, I'm not part of the negotiations, so we'll see.
So then he was saying he's not part of negotiations. We'll see. Now watch this.
And if countries retaliate, which some have said that they would, some have said they wanted to wait and see, what is the White House's response going to be to those countries?
Well, Caitlin, one of the messages that I'd like to get out tonight is everybody sit back, take a deep breath, don't immediately retaliate. Let's see where this goes, because if you retaliate, that's how we get escalation.
Right? Now he's talking about escalation versus I'm not part of a deal, don't retaliate, don't talk about escalation. And now he's going to start bragging about a bunch of trade deals. Watch this. This is today.
Larry, I can tell you that there are 50, 60, maybe almost 70 countries.
Now, if you listen to what he's saying, he's just kind of making stuff up. There's 50, 60, maybe even 70 countries that are talking to us. Like that's the kind of stuff that are just like, they're just making stuff up. I'm just watch this.
Larry, I can tell you that there are 50, 60, maybe almost 70 countries now who have approached us. So it's going to be a busy April, May, maybe into June. And Japan is a very important military ally. They're very important.
All right, so they go on and they say like Japan is front in line, but you want to know who's actually first in line that was actually meeting with Trump today? We talked about yesterday. Here it is right now.
Hey everyone, big heads up, Paleo Valley's running a sale on
Israel. Israel's already at the White House. They're first in line.
There we go. Israel first in line.
According to Vicent, it's 50, 60, maybe even 70 countries are on the phone. This is what we're dealing with. And again, Israel's there already. So let's listen to what Israel has to say.
I said to the president a very simple thing.
Check it out.
We will eliminate the trade deficit with the United States. We intend to do it.
He just said Israel, the nation of Israel is going to eliminate this big trade deficit that America got. So evidently, they know something we don't know.
Very quickly. We think it's the right thing to do. And we're going to also eliminate trade barriers, a variety of trade barriers that have been put up unnecessarily.
Okay, so kind of what's going on here, and a lot of it doesn't make sense, but that's a lot of what Trump and all these people are saying. That just make stuff up. So are we saying now Israel is just going to be buying tons and tons of stuff from USA? Is that our plan? I mean, Israel is much smaller than USA. If I had to bet, though, the way that they'll probably play this out is Trump will start selling arms to Israel. That's one way that you could do it. I'm just telling you that theoretically that would be a way. But this idea, though, that suddenly Israel is just buying like even more stuff to make up whatever imbalance that they have. And then, they also say that Israel is going to be an example to the rest of the world. That's what he says right here. I'll show you what I'm saying.
And I think Israel can serve as a model for many countries who ought to do the same.
See, and I just want you guys to see what's going on. On top of that, now, what is the model? What is the model? So I guess theoretically the model is if you want to do business with Trump, buy a whole bunch of U.S. weapons, and then help Trump build his hotels and casinos in your country. I'm pretty sure that's what the play is. I've told you guys before. That's what Trump's up to with, say, Vietnam, with Saudi Arabia, making business dealings to benefit his family. Trump's all about Trump first, right? It's not America first, it's Trump first. Have a listen to this. It gets even more wild. And I don't want to make any jokes or anything of this stuff. This is actually quite serious and sad. He talks about Gaza, you'll see.
To get to a deal? Do you think blocking humanitarian aid is also an effective pressure?
Well, you know how I feel about the Gaza Strip. I think it's an incredible piece of important real estate, and I think it's something that we would be involved in. But having a peace force like the United States there, controlling and owning the Gaza Strip would be a good thing.
So now he's talking about an American peace force in Gaza Strip, right? Owning and controlling. You heard it for yourself right there. And I just want you to see the train of events and the train of logic, right? So the sense like, oh yeah, we're negotiating with 50, 60, maybe 70 countries. Israel's then going to be the example. What's the example? USA, I guess we're most likely going to sell weapons. Then I guess we're selling, sending troops, and I guess we're going to occupy, own, and control. And then Trump will build his hotels. That's the plan. I just want to make sure it's clear so you guys understand what's going on here. Because I know a lot of people, they talk with your MAGA friends or family members and they don't know, but this is what it is. They tell you what it is.
Because right now, all it is for years and years, all I hear about is killing and Hamas and problems. And if you take the people, the Palestinians, and move them around to different countries, and you have plenty of countries that will do that.
All right, so that's going to move the Palestinians. So that's their plan, which I'm not thrilled about. And I can go on and on about this, but I just want to show you what they're saying, and I'm sure you guys understand. If you want to say just basically stealing their land to build Trump hotels, you can say it that way. There's any number of ways you can say it. So this is Fox News actually calling out Bessent on his BS. Have a listen to this.
We will grow. We, the United States, will grow faster than Japan. We will grow faster than almost anybody. Therefore, almost by definition, by growing faster than the rest of the world, we're always going to have a trade deficit. So I don't know why you'd want to use the trade deficit in a calculation for a reciprocal charge. I understand your point about non-tariff barriers. I get that. That's why I would have chosen a handful of countries, I don't know, maybe 10 or a dozen countries, and really carefully pinpointed it. But to apply this to the whole world on the basis of trade deficits, is that really the best in your judgment? You've been around a long time. You've looked at these.
Okay. Any comments on that? Notice how they, all of a sudden out of the blue, Israel back on the scene. And like I say, all you have to do is go to scripture. It's a harlot. It's a harlot in the land of Israel. And that harlot is controlling the fourth beast. Matter of fact, the fourth beast is the harlot. But the way they playing it, they got everybody so thrown off and don't understand what has happened with our scriptures, and that half of the stuff you're reading, the New Testament is not scripture. And so they don't understand that it's a harlot in the land of Israel, and the harlot controlling the beast. And we're looking at it firsthand right here. Just by the 3 wars. The first 2 world wars, Esau was behind it. And when the wars got started, he was the one that started it. Pearl Harbor, and then the one before that was the Israeli Mossad sank the Lusitania. They brought America in the First World War. And then the Second World War was Pearl Harbor. They were behind all of it. Then we saw what they done with 9/11. So it's these Esau, these Edomites, is the one dictating everything behind the scenes, the harlot. Any comments or questions? Okay, so with that being said, we're gonna open it up for some Q&A. Anybody have any questions or comments or dialogue about anything they came across? They want to talk about it, chop it up? Anybody got anything? Okay. Play this here, then we'll start reading. Okay. You hear me talking about how what's going on over,
if you're uninsured,
what's going on over with Burkina Faso and Mali and Sahel, right? Let's listen to this, and then I'll shine a light on the points.
Africa's most famous YouTuber and a proud son of Ghana, has always been known for his passion for changing the African narrative. His platform is built on celebrating African excellence, beauty, and hidden gems. Among the many countries he's explored, Burkina Faso holds a special place, not just for its rich culture and resilient people, but also because of the dramatic difference between his first visit and his return in March 2025.
Remember 2019, which is a setup, right? These Edomites, they got their hand in that 2019 thing. So when you turn on, you couldn't turn on TV, and you definitely couldn't go on YouTube And you heard Ghana everywhere, Ghana, right? Come and find out what happened going on with that. Now you can't turn YouTube on without Burkina Faso, right? Check it out.
Wode Maya's first trip to Burkina Faso was in 2019, and truth be told, it wasn't the smoothest. He had just come off an exhilarating experience in Senegal and was excited to discover the land of upright people. But from the moment he landed in Ouagadougou, the capital, things seemed off. The air.
Just for those that don't know, that's what Book of Joshua is called, the Book of the Upright People, and they saying that Burkina Faso is the land of the upright people.
Port was chaotic. His luggage got delayed, and he struggled with language barriers. French and local dialects made communication a hustle. More painfully, he felt overlooked by officials who seemed to underestimate his presence. In fact, a hotel receptionist assumed he was a low-budget traveler and offered him the cheapest room without even asking. However, Wode Maya isn't one to be discouraged. Once he hit the streets, the real Burkina Faso unfolded before him. He visited Bobo Dioulasso, where traditional music and architecture moved his soul. He interviewed local weavers and artisans, showcasing their craft to the world. One of his most memorable episodes featured a group of young Burkinabe tech entrepreneurs who were building drones from scrap parts. But overall, the trip felt like hard work, convincing people to open up, breaking down cultural and language barriers, and navigating infrastructure challenges. It was rewarding, but emotionally draining. Fast forward to March 2025, and everything had changed. Burkina Faso had undergone a quiet revolution. A new administration had taken power in 2024 with a strong Pan-African agenda. They had followed Wode.
Did you hear that? Play it again.
Had undergone a quiet revolution. A new administration had taken power in 2024 with a strong Pan-African agenda. They had
strong Pan-African agenda. Okay.
Followed Wode Maya's work for years and credited him as one of the voices reshaping how Africans see themselves. So this time, when Wode Maya landed at Ouagadougou International Airport, he was met with a red carpet welcome, literally. Government representatives, young influencers, and local YouTubers were there to greet him. Even school children had banners reading, Bienvenue Wode Maya. He was given a warm stay at a stunning eco-lodge, run entirely by young Burkinabe returnees from the diaspora. These were youths who had watched Wode Maya's videos from afar and returned to build their homeland. This visit was packed with highlights. He rode electric bikes in Ouaga, part of a local startup's green initiative. He was invited to speak at the University of Ouagadougou, where over 3,000 students came to hear him talk about storytelling and African pride. He visited the newly restored ruins of Laurapani, a UNESCO heritage site that had been abandoned, but was now a top tourist attraction, thanks to local efforts and renewed national pride. One of the most powerful moments came when he interviewed a Burkinabe woman who built a school for girls in a rural village, using profits from her shea butter business. She credited Wode Maya's platform for inspiring her to dream bigger. Reflecting on his 2 visits, Wode Maya said in a video, "The Burkina Faso I visited in 2019 was beautiful, but unsure of itself. The Burkina Faso of 2025 is bold, unapologetic, and ready to lead." He praised the youth for taking ownership of their story, and the government for seeing the value in storytelling, technology, and Pan-Africanism. And this time, when he checked out of his hotel, the same receptionist who once looked down on him gave him a gift, a handmade bronze statuette symbolizing respect and renewal. Wode Maya's story in Burkina Faso is more than just about one YouTuber visiting a country. It's a reflection of the African awakening, how storytelling can shift perspectives, and how the people, when inspired, can rise to reclaim their dignity and future. One of the most unexpected yet electrifying highlights of Wode Maya's 2025 trip to Burkina Faso was his exclusive visit to Sahel Electric, the country's rising electric vehicle, EV, company based just outside Ouagadougou. He had heard murmurs of the company during his university talk. The students kept mentioning Africa's Tesla. At first, he thought it was just hype, but curiosity got the better of him. Within a day, the visit was arranged, and what he saw blew his mind. Sahel Electric wasn't some glitzy, overfunded corporate behemoth. The factory stood modestly on the edge of the Sahel region, surrounded by dry earth, thorny trees, and an unbending sun. But the moment he stepped inside, Wode Maya's camera lens captured something magical. Rows of young Burkina Bay engineers assembling sleek, solar-powered electric bikes, tricycles, and small cars designed specifically for African terrain. What shocked him most was the innovation born from limitations. The factory used recycled lithium batteries, imported from scrapped phones and laptops. The body frames were made from local aluminum, and 80% of the staff were under the age of 30. He was given a tour by Fatimata Zongo, the company's lead engineer, barely 28 years old and a former top student at the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences. She told Wode Maya, "We're not trying to be the next Tesla. We're trying to be the first Sahel, designed by Africa for Africa." Wode Maya got to test drive their flagship product, the Zem 1.
Okay.
A compact designed for delivery.
Okay.
I thought you were finished. You can finish the video. I have a comment after.
In public
Okay.
transport, as he cruised down a dirt road with a hot wind in his face and no engine noise behind him. He kept laughing in amazement. "I swear to you, this is the smoothest ride I've ever had in West Africa. No fuel, no smoke, just African brains," he exclaimed to the camera. The story got deeper when Fatimata took him to a nearby village where Sahel Electric had donated 10 solar charging stations. In that community, kids were now using electric bicycles to get to school. Traders were transporting goods without petrol, and a local mechanic had learned to repair EV motors through YouTube and TikTok tutorials. Wode Maya was floored, not just by the tech, but by the spirit, the will to innovate despite harsh conditions, the passion for sustainability, the unapologetic belief that Africa doesn't need to play catch-up, it can lead. His video on Sahel Electric went viral. In just 72 hours, it crossed 3 million views. Tech bloggers in Nairobi, Lagos, and even Berlin picked it up. African diasporans flooded Sahel Electric's website asking how to invest or support. But perhaps the most powerful moment was in the final clip of the video. Wode Maya stood in front of the dusty, humble factory with the setting sun behind him, saying, "Africa is not waiting anymore. Burkina Faso is building the future in the heart of the Sahel. If you've ever doubted the potential of this continent, just remember Sahel Electric. This is Africa rising." In the heart of West Africa, a quiet but powerful transformation is unfolding under the leadership of President Ibrahim Traoré.
Check this out.
Burkina Faso, a country once associated with instability and economic hardship, is now becoming a case study in how purposeful leadership can ignite hope, inspire productivity, and transform a nation from the ground up. Traoré's approach is not rooted in grandeur or political theatrics. Instead, it is grounded in listening to the people, empowering local industry, and removing systemic barriers that have held back progress for decades. One, infrastructure that works for the people. One of the first things President Traoré focused on was infrastructure, not just in terms of roads and electricity, but functional systems that support everyday livelihoods. Under his leadership, hundreds of kilometers of roads have been paved to connect rural farmers with urban markets. These roads are now lifelines for trade, transport, and opportunity. Solar mini-grids have been installed in off-grid communities, bringing light and power to previously neglected areas. Schools and clinics are being equipped with basic necessities, allowing health workers and teachers to perform their duties with dignity. Two, policies that favor the worker and the entrepreneur. Traoré introduced several economic reforms aimed directly at improving the working environment for all Burkina Bay citizens. Simplified business registration. The government slashed red tape and digitized company registration processes, reducing what once took months to a matter of days. Tax incentives for local enterprises. Small and medium-sized businesses, SMEs, are now enjoying a tax break period of up to 5 years, encouraging young entrepreneurs to take risks and grow their ventures. Land reforms. Traoré's government made strategic reforms to ensure that land access was more transparent, affordable, and secure, especially for women and youth involved in agriculture and construction. These reforms have created fertile ground for innovation, investment, and job creation. 3, empowering youth through skills and innovation. Recognizing that Burkina Faso's greatest asset is its youth, President Traoré launched the National Skills Acceleration Initiative, a countrywide movement that offers free technical and vocational training in fields like agriculture, renewable energy, digital skills, carpentry, and mechanics. State-backed innovation hubs have opened in every major region, providing access to high-speed internet, mentorship, and startup funding. Young people, once disillusioned, are now becoming business owners, content creators, engineers, and problem solvers. 4. Security and dignity in the workplace. One of the most underrated achievements of the Traore administration has been restoring dignity and safety in the workplace. This goes beyond military security. It's about giving workers a voice, improving labor conditions, and enforcing laws that protect the rights of employees. Factory workers now receive regular wages through digital payments. Farmers have access to real-time market prices through SMS alerts, ensuring fair compensation. Public servants, previously demoralized, now operate in cleaner offices with reliable tools. 5. A culture of service and patriotism. President Traore has led by example, embracing humility and discipline. His leadership style has encouraged civil servants, local administrators, and even private companies to work for the people, not above them. Monthly community cleanup drives, public accountability forums, and local development councils are now the norm in many towns. For the first time in a generation, many Burkinabe feel proud to contribute to nation building, whether they are bricklayers, farmers, coders, or market vendors. What President Ibrahim Traore is building in Burkina Faso goes far beyond an economy. He is fostering a culture of resilience, productivity, and hope, a working environment where the average citizen can dream, build, and thrive. In the fields, factories, classrooms, and boardrooms of Burkina Faso, there is a new rhythm, a belief that change is not just possible, it is already here. And at the center of it is a president who chose not to rule, but to serve.
Okay. Somebody had a question or a comment?
Shalom. This is probably just me, but this sounds like reconnaissance to me. To me, it's no different than when the missionaries went to Africa in the beginning and coming back reporting to the Pope and everybody else what was going on there, what they were doing, and making plans on how they can undermine it. This is, I mean, it's just like the video I think you played the other day when they were talking about an attack on the president, and
Right.
they went into a bunker and they given the name of everybody involved in who was doing what and what special project they were. I mean, how do they even know this information? And why do they feel comfortable broadcasting this across the world? These people are trying to get on their feet, and if they truly are for Africa and so-called Pan-Africa, Afro-ism, if I'm saying that right, then give us a chance or give them a chance to get off their feet. Stop reporting every little thing that they're doing, giving other people an opportunity to hear what's going on and figure out a way to undermine them. That's what it sounds like to me. It doesn't make me feel proud to see what they're doing, because the people that are reporting it to me sound like they're undermining them by letting everybody know, and they just not trying to get on their feet.
Exactly. Anybody else? Okay, everybody good? Yeah, so like I was saying before, the price they mentioned Pan-Africanism, so they putting all this off on not on the Lord of Hosts, on the goings on to heaven, but they put it under ideology, Pan-Africanism, which is tied to Africa, is not tied to Israel. Okay. So with that being said, nobody don't have anything else. We go into our reading, which is in Genesis, starting in Genesis chapter 21. We're going to read 5 chapters. Somebody want to read chapter 21? It's the birth of Isaac. Anybody want to read?
Yes, sir. I'll start with 21.
Okay.
Sorry, let me get okay. 21. Yes, sir. The birth of Isaac. And the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord excuse me, and the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did on Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which God had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare to him, Isaac. And Abraham circumcised his son, being 8 days old, as God had commanded him. And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born unto him. And Sarah said, God hath made me to laugh, so that all that hear will laugh with me. And she said, who would have said unto Abraham that Sarah should have given children suck? For I have borne him a son in his old age. And the child grew and was weaned. And Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, which she had borne unto Abraham, mocking. Wherefore she had said unto Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be the heir with my son, even with Isaac. And the thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son. And God said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad, and because of thy bondwoman, and all that Sarah hath said unto thee. Hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. And also, verse 13, and also of the son of the bondwoman will I make a nation, because he is thy seed. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and took bread and a bottle of water and gave it unto Hagar, putting it on her shoulder and the child, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. And the water was spent in the bottle, and she was, I'm sorry. Also, I had a probably just had echo. In the verse 15, and the water was spent in the bottle, and she cast the child under one of the shrubs, and she went and sat her down over against him a good way off, as it were a bow shot. For she said, let me not see the death of the child. And she sat over against him and lift up her voice and wept. Verse 17, and God heard the voice of the lad, and the angel of God called to Hagar out of heaven and said unto her, what aileth thee, Hagar? Fear not, for God hath heard the voice of the lad where he is. Arise, lift up the lad, and hold him in thy hand, for I will make him a great nation. And God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she went and filled the bottle with water, and gave the lad drink. And God was with the lad, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness and became an archer. And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took him a wife out of the land of Egypt. Verse 22, and it came to pass at that time that Abimelech and Hekel, the captain of the host, spake unto Abraham, saying, God is with thee in all that thou doest. Now therefore swear unto me here by God that thou wilt not deal falsely with me, nor with my son, nor with my son's son, but according to the kindness that I have done unto thee, thou shalt do unto me, and to the land wherein thou hast sojourned. And Abraham said, I will swear. And Abraham reproved Abimelech because of a well of water, which Abimelech's servants had violently taken away. And Abimelech said, I wot not who have done this thing, neither didst thou tell me, neither yet heard I of it, but today. And Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them unto Abimelech, and both of them made a covenant. And Abraham set 7 ill lambs of the flock by themselves. And Abimelech said unto Abraham, What mean these 7 ill lambs which thou hast set by themselves? And he said, For these seven ill lambs shalt thou take of my hand, that they may be a witness unto me that I have digged this well. Wherefore he called that place Beersheba, because there they swear both of them. Thus they made a covenant at Beersheba. Then Abimelech rose up, and Pekah, the chief of the host, and they returned into the land of the Philistines. And Abraham planted a grove in Beersheba, and called there on the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And Abraham sojourned in the Philistines' land many days. That's the end of chapter 21.
Okay, you got any feedback?
But so Brother Leonard, in verse 30, I got a question about, well, in 29 and 30, when it says, and Abimelech said unto Abraham, what mean these 7 ill lambs which you have set by themselves? I mean, right here in verse 30, it says, he said, for these 7 ill lambs you shall take out of my hand, that they may be a witness unto me. What are they saying right there?
Well, it's like Abraham is telling him these 7 ewe lambs is going to be a witness. It's like today signing the contract, except that he giving them 7 ewe lambs. But we know, and Abraham know, that those 7 ewe lambs represent those 7 angels, right? So, like I was saying before, when you understand this right here, we know that this was a major event. So we know that they was there too. And like the scriptures say, in the garden, it's a tree of life, a tree of knowledge of good and evil, and a tree of life in the midst of the garden. So what he talking about? They there, but you can't see them. They're angelic beings. So right here, they there, but Amalek can't see them. They represent those 7. So you say, what you talking about? Let's go to Numbers right quick. 20. Go to Numbers. Hold that. Go to Numbers. 20. Let me get it. Okay, I gotta get it. Yeah, 23. Numbers. You got it? Chapter 1, verse 1. I mean, Numbers 23 and 1. You got it?
Right, yes, sir.
And
it says, okay, my bad.
This Balaam and Balak. And Balaam said unto Balak, build me here 7 altars, and prepare me 7 oxen and 7 rams. Why? 7 altars, 7 rams. Why? Because it's 7 angels, right?
Right, yes, sir.
Go to 12, verse 2. I mean, and Balak did as Balaam had spoken, and Balaam offered. See that? Offered on every altar a bullock and a ram. So who they offering them to? And he dealing with the Lord of hosts. So who they offering them to? These 7 angels. So it's the same thing over here with 21. He took the 7 ewe lambs out as a witness. Like I said, Amalek ain't no Israelite, but Abraham is, and he dealing with the Lord of hosts, and he understands that. They are a witness for him. And another example is right here. Go to Isaiah right quick. We go to 22. You go to Isaiah 43. Let me get it. Isaiah chapter 43. And he says 43 and 10. Ye are my witnesses, says the Lord, and my servant whom I have chosen, that ye may know and believe me and understand that I am he. Before me there was no God formed, neither shall there be after me. So who are these witnesses? Israelites. And nobody else dealing with him. So over there, he tells them, verse you read, 30. And he said, for these 7 hued lambs shall thou take unto my hand, that they may be as a witness unto me, that I have built this well. Making any sense?
Right. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. We in Genesis chapter 22. Somebody want to read that?
Shalom, I'll read it.
Okay.
Genesis 22. And it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham. And he said, Behold, here I am. And he said, Take now thy son, thine only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee of. And Abraham rose up early in the morning, and saddled his ass, and took 2 of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up, and went unto the place of which God had told him. Then on the 3rd day Abraham lifted up his eyes, and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men, Abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship, and come again to you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering, and laid it upon Isaac his son. And he took the fire in his hand, and a knife, and they both went both of them together. And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father, and said, My father. And he said, Here am I, my son. And he said, Behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? And Abraham said, My son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went, both of them together. And they came to the place which God had told him of. And Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched forth his hand, and took the knife to slay his son. And the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven, and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest God, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. And Abraham lifted up his eyes, and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram, and offered him up for a burnt offering instead of his son. And Abraham called the name of that place Jehovah Jireh, as it is said to this day, In the mount of the Lord it shall be seen. And the angel of the Lord called unto Abraham out of heaven the 2nd time, and said, By myself have I sworn, said the Lord, for because thou hast done this thing, and hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, that in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore. And thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies. And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice. So Abraham returned unto his young men, and they rose up and went together to Beersheba, and Abraham dwelt at Beersheba. And it came to pass after these things that it was told Abraham, saying, Behold, Milcah, she has also borne children unto thy brother Nahor. I'm sorry?
No, I didn't say nothing.
Oh, okay. Huz, his firstborn, and was his brother, and Kemuel, the son of Aram, and Chesed, and Hazo, and Pildash, and Jidlaph, and Bethuel. And Bethuel begat Rebekah. These 8 Milcah did bear to Nahor, Abraham's brother. And his concubine, whose name was Rumah, she bare also Teba, and Gaim, and Thahash, and Mecca. And that was Genesis 22.
Okay, yeah. So I want to shine a light on let me see. let me see. Yeah, verse 11. Verse 11, it says, and the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, here I am, right? So who is this angel of the Lord that called Abraham out of heaven? Who you think that is? Anybody?
The Lord of hosts.
Okay. So that we know that's the Lord of hosts, and he's in heaven. So where he at in heaven when he called Abraham? Where's he at? This
On the
comes
throne next to Yahweh.
right on the right hand side of the Father. Where they say, where they telling you JC at? You see that?
Right, yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. I just want to shine light on that. So I want to go back to chapter 1. Okay, I mean 21. I wanted to show where it says in, let me see this in 21, verse 21. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I don't see where it said, but it's Jacob is in. He says that Ishmael was in Panorama. So when you understand that, ain't that the same place where Abraham's servant went and got? That's where Laban was at. That's where Sarah from. And said that's where when the angel came and got Sarah, got Hagar and told her her son gonna be a great nation. She gonna make him a great nation. And then it says that they dwelled in Paran. That's the same place where Abraham's servant went and got Rebecca.
Yeah, brother Leonard, that's in 20 and 21. I mean, chapter 21, verse 20 and 21.
Okay, let me see. Right, yeah, that's it. Right, it says, and God was with the lad, and he grew, and he dwelt in the wilderness, and became an archer, and he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took him a wife out of the land of Egypt. So another thing to understand is when you got Paran, and then you got the wilderness of Paran. That's the desert. You got the place. So he in the wilderness of Paran, and Rebecca and Laban and all them, they in Paran. You have to understand that. So yeah, it's kind of ironic that that's where he at, the same place where you got Rebecca at. I had something in verse 13 too. Let me look at that. Yeah, I was showing you how they hoodwinked the conversation in Genesis chapter 3 when Michael came and talked to Adam and Eve and the serpent, and then he told Eve, when he told the serpent, I'm gonna put image between thy seed and her seed, right? So right here though, the Lord of hosts talking to Abraham in verse 12. And God, we know that's the Lord of hosts, said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad and because of thy bondwoman, and all that Sarah has said unto thee, hearken unto her voice. For in Isaac shall thy seed be called. So now, see, that is Abraham. See that? It says, and unto thee, hearken unto her, this is the angel of the Lord, hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy, Abraham, seed be called. But all of a sudden in Genesis 3, it's the woman's seed. But right here, it's Abraham's seed. See that? Okay. With that being said, we're going to read Genesis chapter 23. Somebody want to read it? Or I'll read it. Somebody want to read it?
Shalom, I'll read it.
Shalom. Okay.
Go ahead, Mama. You can read it.
Okay. Thank you. That's the death of Sarah, right?
Yeah, the death
And
of Sarah.
Sarah, okay. I got it right here. And Sarah was 107 and 20 years old. These were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died in, ooh, I cannot pronounce that word. How do you say that?
Kira Arbor.
Kira Abba.
Yeah.
The same in Hebron,
Yes.
in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. And Abraham stood up from before his dead and spake unto the sons of Heth, saying, I am a stranger and a sojourner with you. Give me possessions of burying place with you, that I may bury my dread out of my sight. And the children of Heth and answered Abraham, saying unto him, Hear us, my Lord. Thou art a mighty prince among us. In the choice of our, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that word. What is that?
Sepulchres.
Sepulchres. Bury thy dead. Thank you. None of us shall withhold from thee in sepulchre, but that thou mayest bury thy dead. And Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land, even the children of Heth, and he communed with them, saying, If it be your mind that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me and entreat me for Ephron and the son of Zohar, that he may give me the cave of, whew, I'm sorry. How do you pronounce that word?
Machpelah.
Machpelah, which he hath, which is in the end of his field. For as much money as it is worth, he shall give it me for possessions of burying place amongst you. And Ephron dealt among the children of Heth, and Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the audience for the children of Heth, even of all that went in at the gate of his city, saying, Nay, my Lord, hear me, the field give I thee, and the cave that is therein I give it thee in the presence of the sons of my people. Give I it thee, bury thy dead. And Abraham bowed down himself before the people of the land, and he spake unto Ephron in the audience of the people of the land, saying, But if thou wilt give it, I pray thee, hear me. I will give the money for the field. Take it of me, and I will bury my dead there. And Ephron answered Abraham, saying unto him, My Lord, hearken unto me. The land is worth 400 shekels of gold. Of silver. What is thy betwixt me and thee? Bury therefore thy dead. And Abraham hearkened unto Ephron, and Abraham weighed to Ephron the silver, which he had named in the audience of the sons of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, current money with the merchant. And the field of Ephron, which was, I'm sorry, can you help me pronounce that word again?
Machpelah.
Machpelah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Which was before Mamre, the field and the cave which was therein, and all the trees that were in the field that were in all the borders round about where were made sure unto Abraham for possession in the presence of the children of Heth, before all that went in at the gate of his city. And after this, Abraham buried Sarah, his wife, in the cave of the field of Machpelah before Mamre, the same in Hebron in the land of Canaan, and the field and the cave that is therein were made sure unto Abraham for a possession of a burying place for the sons of Heth.
Okay. So that was Genesis 23. Two things I want to shine a light on. When we first started reading, in verse 2, Sarah died in Kira Alba, right? So that's back when in the very beginning, they named these places after the names of people. Like in the very beginning, Cain went out from the land from Eden, and he built a city and named the city after the name of his firstborn son, which is Enoch. So this Kira Alba is a giant. They named the city after him. Matter of fact, when you go to this same place became Hebron, where David was dwelling at. But then you go to let me get it, 19, verse 19. And after this, Abraham buried Sarah, his wife, in the cave of the field of Machpelah before Mamre. That's one of his sons. If you go to Genesis 18, Abraham was in the tent. He looked out the tent and saw three men coming. And he's in the oaks of Mamre. So this land right here was controlled by Mamre, a giant. And Mamre is the son of Kibar Abba over here in verse 2. He's a giant. And Mamre is his son. I just wanted to shine a light on that, so because a lot of people don't know that. Okay, anybody else have any comments on chapter 23? Okay, 24, you gonna read that, Tush?
Yes, Shalom. The search for a wife of Isaac. And Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and the Lord had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house that ruled over all that he had, Put I pray thee, thou hand under my thigh, and I will make thee swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of earth, that thou shalt not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I dwell. But thou shalt go unto my country and to my kindred, my guest kin, and take a wife unto my son Isaac. And the servant said unto him, Peradventure the woman will not be willing to follow me into this land. Must I needs bring thy son again into the land from which thou camest? And Abraham said unto him, Beware thou that thou bring not my son thereth again. And the Lord God of heaven, which took me from my father's house and from the land of my kindred, and which spake unto me, and that sware unto me, saying, Unto thy seed will I give this land. He shall send his angel before thee, and thou shalt take a wife unto my son from thence. And if the woman will not be willing to follow thee, then thou shalt be clear from this oath. Only bring not my son thereth again. And the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham his master, and sware to him concerning that matter. The servant's prayer. And the servant took 10 camels and the camels of his master, and departed. For all the goods of his master were in his hand. And he arose and went to Mesopotamia, and to the city of Nohor, And he made his camels to kneel down without the city by a well of water at the time of the evening, even the time that the women go out to draw water. And he said, O Lord God of my master Abraham, I pray thee, send me good speed this day, and showeth kindness unto my master Abraham. Behold, I stand here by the well of water, and the daughters of the men of the city come out to draw water. And let it come to pass that the damsel to whom I shall say, let down thy pitcher, I pray thee that I may drink, that she shall say, drink, and I will give the camels drink also. Let that same be she that thou hast appointed for thy servant Isaac, and thereby shall I know that thou hast shown kindness to my master. Rebecca, an answer to prayer. And it came to pass, behold, he had done speaking that, behold, Rebecca came out, who was born to Bethel, the son of Malachi, and the wife of Nahir, Abraham's brother, with her pitcher upon her shoulder. And the damsel was very fair to look upon, a virgin, neither had any man known her. And she went down to the well and filled her pitcher and came up. And the servant ran to meet her and said, let me, I pray thee, drink a little water of thy pitcher. And she said, drink, my lord. And she hastened and let down her pitcher into her hand and gave him drink. And when she had done giving him drink, she said, I will draw water for thy camels also, until they have done drinking. And she hastened and emptied her pitcher into the trough and ran again into the well to draw water and drew for all his camels. And the man wondering at her held his peace to with where the Lord had made his journey prosperous or not. And it came to pass, as the camels had done drinking, the man took a golden earring of half a shilling weight, and two bracelets for her hands, and 10 shekels weight of gold. And he said, whose daughter art thou? Tell me, I pray thee. Is there room in thy father's house for us to lodge in? And she said unto him, I am the daughter of Bethel, son of Malachi, which she bore unto Nahar. And she said, moreover, unto him, we have both straw and provender enough and room to lodge in. And the man bowed down his head and whispered, the Lord. And he said, blessed be the Lord God of my master Abraham, who have not let destitute my master of his mercy and his truth. I'm being in thy way. The Lord led me to the house of my master's brethren. And the damsel ran and told them of her mother's house these things. Laban's greeting. And Rebekah had a brother, and his name was Laban. And Laban ran out unto the man into the well. And it came to pass, when he saw the earring and bracelet upon his sister's hands, and when he heard the words of Rebekah his sister, saying, thou spake the man unto me, that he came unto the man, and behold, he stood by the camels at the well. And he said, come in, thou blessed of the Lord, wherefore standest thou without? For I have prepared the house and rooms for the camels. The Aaron explained, and and the man came to the house, and he ungirdled his camels and gave straw and provender for the camels and water to wash his feet and the man's feet that were with him. And there was set meat before him to eat, and he said, I will not eat until I have told mine error. Aaron, and he said, speak on. And he said, I am Abraham's servant, and the Lord have blessed my master greatly, and he has become great. We have given his flocks, herds, and silver and gold, and manservants and maidservants, and camels and asses. And Sarah, my master's wife, bare a son to my master when he was old. And to him hath he given all that he haveth. And to my master made me swear, saying, thou shalt not take a wife to my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I dwell. But thou shalt go unto my father's house and to my kin, and take a wife unto my son. And I said unto my master, Peradventure the woman will not follow me. And he said unto me, The Lord before whom I walk will send his angel with thee and prosper thy way. And thou shalt take a wife for my son of my kin and of my father's house. Then shall thy be clear from this my oath, when thou comest to my kin, and if they give not thee one, thou shalt be clear from my oath. And I came this day unto the well and said, O Lord God of my master Abraham, if now thou do prosper my way which I go, behold, I stand by the well of water, and it shall come to pass that when the virgin cometh to draw water, and I say unto her, Give me, I pray thee, a little water of thy pitcher to drink. And she say to me, Both drink thou, and I will also draw for the camels. Let the same be the woman whom the Lord had pointed out for my master's son. And before I had done speaking in my heart, behold, Rebekah came forth with her pitcher on her shoulder, and she went down into the well and drew water. And I said unto her, Let me drink, I pray thee. And she made haste and let down her pitcher from her shoulder and said, Drink, and I will give thy camels drink also. So I drank, and she made the camels drink also. And I asked her and said, Whose daughter art thou? And she said, The daughter of Bethuel, Nahor's son, who Malachi bare unto him. And I put the earrings upon her face and the bracelets upon her hands. And I bowed down my head and whispered the Lord, and blessed the Lord God of my master Abraham, which have led me into the right way to take my master's brother's daughter unto his son. And now, if you will deal kindly and truly with my master, tell me, and if not, tell me that I may turn to the right hand or to the left. Rebekah can go. Then Laban and Bethuel answered and said, The thing proceedeth from the Lord. We cannot speak unto thee bad or good. Behold, Rebekah is before thee. Take her and go, and let her be thy master's son's wife, as the Lord has spoken. And it came to pass that when Abraham's servant heard these words, he whispered the Lord, bowing himself to the earth. And the Lord brought forth jewels of silver and gold, jewels of gold and raiment, and gave them to Rebekah. He gave also to her brother and to her mother precious things, preparing to leave. And they did not eat, and they did eat and drink, and he and the men that were with him, and tarried all night. And they rose up in the morning, and he said, Send me away unto my master. And her brother and her mother said, Let the damsel abide with us a few days, at least 10. After that she shall go. And he said unto them, Hinder me not, seeing the Lord hath prospered my way. Send me away that I may go to my master. And they said, We will call the damsel and inquire at her mouth. Rebekah agrees to go. And they called Rebekah, and she said unto her, Wilt thou go with this man? And she said, I will go. And they sent away Rebekah, their sister, and her nurse, and Abraham's servant and his men. And they blessed Rebekah and said unto her, Thou art our sister, and thou the mother of thousands of millions, and let thee seed possess the gate of those which hate thee. And Rebekah arose and her damsels, and they rode up upon the camels and followed the men, and the servants took Rebekah and went his way. Isaac and Rebekah marry. And Isaac came from way of the well Lehi. I can't pronounce that, for he dwelt in the south country. And Isaac went out to meditate in the field at the eventide, and he lifted up his eyes and saw, behold, the camels were coming. And Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she lighted off the camel, for she had said unto the servant, What man is this that walketh through the field to meet us? And the servant had said to her, It is my master. Therefore she took a veil and covered herself. And the servant told Isaac all the things that he had done. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he loved her. And Isaac was comforted after his mother's death.
Okay.
Genesis.
Any comments on that?
I don't. Some of it I don't quite understand. So was Abraham telling him that if he goes to his brother's place where his brother's family lives, and they tell him that they don't have anybody for him, that he can break the oath that he made with him, and but he can never let Isaac go there again? I didn't quite understand that part.
You got to go back to where Abraham came from. Remember, Abraham was told to get thee from thy kindred. The Lord appeared to him in verse chapter 12, told him, get thee from thy kindred. I'm going to take you to a land that's flowing with milk and honey. And Abraham, you got to tie that to Joshua. Abraham, remember, Abraham, Lot brother Haran was killed on Abraham's account when Abraham was born. That's why he told Abraham to go on his own to get thee from thy kindred. But Abraham felt the need to take Lot with him because he was the reason Lot was fatherless. Because Lot daddy got killed because of him. And remember in the furnace?
Yes.
Haran got burnt up. So the Most High was that whole situation where he was at. Abraham, father Terah, was an idol worshiper. So the Lord of hosts took Abraham out of that situation. So that's why he's telling his servant, don't take Isaac back there no more. I don't want Isaac going there. That's why he's saying that. You can go there, you can go back there and get a wife for him, but I don't want him going back there. I don't want him back in that lane.
He don't want to be influenced by the people.
Right, but where it was a volatile place. He didn't want Lot to deal with it.
I got you.
And back to what I was saying earlier too, when Mika was reading, it said Karbar Abba, it's a city, but it's named after a giant. Well, notice that he went to the city of Nahor. Nahor is one of Abraham's brothers. The city named after his brother. And so when you understand that, when AJ was reading, he said that they're going to Paran. Well, that's where Abraham people was at. That's where Abraham sent his people to. He said, go to where his people was at, where he had came from, and get a wife. Don't get one from the Canaanites. Okay, that's making any sense?
That helps. Thank you.
And then I wanted to shine a light on something else. We know about Isaiah chapter 3, I think it's, let me see. Isaiah chapter 3 about the daughters of Zion, right? How they was walking around with Wutan necks and all that. But I want to show you the understanding on that. I think it's chapter 3, starting at verse 16. Moreover, the Lord said, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with stretched forth necks and Wutan eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and walking and tingling with their feet. Therefore, the Lord will smite with scab with a crown of their heads the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts. In that day, the Lord will take away the bravery of their tingling ornaments about their feet, and their coils, and their round tires like the moon. So he listed all this stuff that they have, the chains, the bracelets, the mufflers. Well, this is how they got it over here, what we just read, when Abraham sent all this stuff to Rebecca, right? It says, I think it's 32. 24 and 32 says, yeah, and the man came into the house and he ungirded his camels and gave straw and provision for the camels and the water to wash his feet. And no, that's not it. Let me go get it. Yeah, it says 30. And it came to pass, this is 24 and 30. Came to pass when she saw the earrings. Here you go. This is what Abraham's servant gave Rebecca. And he saw the earrings and the bracelets upon her. This her brother, her daddy, Laban, saw the bracelets, the earrings and the bracelets upon his sister's hand. And when he heard the words of Rebecca, his sister, saying, "Thus speak the man unto me," that he came unto the man, and behold, he stood by the camels and at the well, and he said, "Come in, thou blessed of the Lord. Wherefore standest thou without? For I have prepared the house and the room for the camels." And the man came in the house, and he ungirded his camels and gave straw and provender to his camels, water, and he washed his feet. And the men's feet that were with him, and there was a set meat before him to eat, but he said, "I will not eat until I have told mine Aaron." And he said, "Speak on." So anyway, we see right here, this how those women got all the stuff they had, but they was haughty about it. And so, if you keep reading Isaiah chapter 3, the Most High killed the men, and then he said they sit down in the middle of the street mourning because they had got all the stuff because the Most High blessed the man, like he just said right here. He says he saw the earrings and the bracelets upon his sister's hand, and when he heard the words of Rebecca, his sister, saying, "Thus spake the man," see that, "unto me," that he came in unto the man. He came into the man, and behold, he stood by the camel at the well, right? Then he said, "Come in, thou blessed of the Lord," because he got all this stuff. He blessed of the Lord. Abraham got all that stuff when they was in with the Pharaoh, and the Pharaoh tried to take Sarah. And the Lord blessed him. He used the Pharaoh to bless Abraham. That's why Abraham got all that stuff. And that's why the women in Isaiah 3, they got all that stuff because the Lord of hosts is blessing the men. And they wasn't respecting, they was haughty. Like he said, walking around with his neck stuck up in the air with tinglers on, bracelets and all that. So he said, "I'm gonna take all that away." And while he took it away, he killed the men. If you keep reading that verse. So I just want to shine a light on that so you get a better understanding of that. And so the same thing with another thing in this same verse in 32, the same thing happened right here. But if you go to Genesis 18, Abraham did the same thing to the angels, right? Those three angels came to Abraham. He did the same thing right here in Genesis 24 and 32. The man came in unto the house, 33. And there was, 32. And the man came in into the house, and he ungirded the camel, and he gave straw and provender for the camels. Now here you go, and water to wash his feet. That's what Abraham did to the angel. And the man's feet that were with him, he washed their feet. 3. And there was set meat before him to eat, but he said, "I will not eat until I have told myself." And the same thing Abraham did with the 3 angels. He ran into the herd, got a calf tender and good, told Sarah to cook it, meat it, made cakes, and brought it out to them, washed their feet. The angels, and he doing the same thing to this man. It's a custom. Like he says, nothing new under the sun. So that's why they got JC get his feet washed in the New Testament. Okay, anybody got anything else? Everybody good?
Brother Leonard, shalom. Washing another man's feet is very humbling, because
Right.
You know, I can't see myself doing that in this time.
Oh yeah, exactly. But that was it was a show of respect. It's the same way. Remember when that's how the guy, the Levite that went and he got his to get his handmaiden back. He knew something was wrong because when he came into the town and sat down in the middle of the streets, nobody had helped him. He knew something was wrong. And then the old man, the Israelite, came out and told him to come on in the house because he knew how those men were in that area. He told him to come in the house and stay with him. And then he said when they came to the door for him, beating on the door for him to come out, he said, "Don't do this thing because he's under my house, under my coverage, cover of my house. He's responsible for him once he went in his house." That was the custom. Okay. Anybody else got anything? Okay, I'll read the last chapter. It's
Shalom.
chapter
I'm
20.
sorry, Brother Leonard. Shalom. Brother Leonard, I just have a question, just something I always wondered about. You see throughout the Bible where people, were killed, and I just always wondered why, the devil wasn't killed, to prevent some of this wickedness that was going on. With God being an all-knowing God, I just always
Right,
wonder why some of this stuff wasn't prevented to keep us from going through all this stuff that we had to go through. Just get rid of the evil altogether. Do you have
right.
an answer for that or somewhere I can read that?
Well, when we understand that in the beginning, the angels they got a free will. They got a free will to make a choice, and so mankind got the same thing. They got a free will. So we gave them the laws, like in the garden. He gave Adam the laws. Then Adam gave him to Eve, and then the serpent came. That's why he went to Eve. And then so she told him what Adam what had been conveyed to her, that not to eat I could eat of the fruit trees of the garden, but not to deal with him. And so they had laws then, and then Israel had laws. So when you don't go by the laws, there's repercussions on it. So the reason why the wickedness keep going on, because of when we was reading in Jasher, he's using those the serpent and the wicked and all these wicked spirits. He controlling them, and it's according to what the people doing, that he send them or he don't send them. Like in Solomon's case, he told Solomon, "If you keep my laws and my statutes, you're gonna stay on the throne. And if you don't keep my laws, you deviate from them, you turn your back on me, then I'm gonna bring a wickedness here." And Solomon turned away from him. That's when he brought all his David's enemies on him. So it goes back to free will. When you decide to go contrary to the Most High's laws, that's when the wickedness comes. But when you keeping his laws, it's a hedge. It's a hedge around you. That make any sense?
Shalom, Brother Leonard. So that would be something similar to like how we would be if we use, like, say, for example, as being a parent, how we try to guide our children the right way, but if they decide to go on the wrong path and something happens to them, is that similar to how it is
Yeah.
with life,
Okay.
where you have this free will,
Right.
but you have these law where you was referring to as laws, but if I was looking at it like in the common, how we look at life now, it's basically like how a parent will try to guide our children the right way,
Exactly.
but they do have their own will to go either the right way or the wrong way.
Right. All you do
Is that the
is,
same thing?
yeah, same thing. You raise them up with good standards and all that. When they get to a certain point, now when they go out in the world, they got to make a choice to live by what you showed them, or they got a free will. They go their own road, and and there's repercussions to it. That's why David said over years, he messed up when he was younger, but he said, now I'm old, I've learned not to go to the left or to the right, but to go straight down the middle with the Lord. That's free will. You learn to do the right thing. And if you don't, there's repercussions to it. Does that make any sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So I was in chapter 25, Genesis. It says, then again Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah, and she bore him Zimram and Jackson, Midian, Ishbak, and Shaul, and Jackson begot Sheba and Dedan, and the sons of Dedan were Asherim and Litchum, and so the Ludum, and the sons of Midian, Ephah, Epher, Hadad, Abidah, Edah. All these were the children of Keturah, and Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac. But unto the sons of the concubines which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac his son. Okay? While he yet lived eastward unto the east country, right? And these are the days of the years of Abraham's life, which he lived 180 years. Okay? And Abraham gave up the ghost and died in a good old age, and an old man, and full of years, and was gathered to his people. And his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave at Machpelah in the field of Ephraim, the son of Zihar the Hittite, which is before Mamre. The field which Abraham purchased of the sons of Heth, there was Abraham buried, and Sarah his wife. And it came to pass after the death of Abraham that God blessed his son Isaac, and Isaac dwelled by the well of Lahorah, the descendants of Ishmael. Now these are the generations of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's handmaiden, bore unto Abraham. And these are the names of the sons of Ishmael by their names, according to their generations. The firstborn Ishmael, Nebijah, Kedar, Adabil, and Misha, and Misha, and Durna, and Massa, Hadar, Tema, Jeter, Nephalish, Kedema. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names by their towns. See that? By their towns. So they had cities named after them, and by their castles, 12 princes according to their nations. And these are the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years, and he gave up the ghost and died and was gathered unto his people. And they dwelt from Havilah unto Shur, that is before Egypt, as thou goest toward Assyria. And he died in the presence of all his brethren. And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac. Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethel, the Syrian of Panaram, the sister of Laban, the Syrian. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived, and the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when the days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came out his brother out, and he said, excuse me, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when he bore them, and the boys grew. And Esau was a cunning hunter, man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. And Jacob saw pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point of to die, and what profit shall this birthright do unto me? And Jacob said, swear unto me this day. And he swore unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. And Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of mental. And he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. So we see right here that in this chapter, first of all, Isaac, and we see Isaac and Jacob was twins. And so if you do a parallel with Cain and Abel, we know what happened with Cain and Abel, that Cain came out wicked. And like I said, you got to look at the DNA. So this the first person born of a woman was Cain, and Adam supposed to be his father. Why is he so wicked? Because we found out when we rightly divide the scriptures that Satan is his father, right? And we see all through here these men having children, and the prophets and the people that wrote these books, they go out their way to describe the children, and never do we see this like we see right here in chapter 25, verse 22. The children struggled together in her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord, which we know she went to Abraham. When you go to the book of Joshua, she didn't go to the Lord. She went to Abraham and Isaac, and they inquired of the Lord. And also say they went to the house of Shem. Shem was still alive. They inquired of the Lord, and then the Lord told them what she said here, that it's two manner of people in her womb, right? And the Lord said unto her, so Abraham said to her, right? The Lord said unto her, two nations are in thy womb, two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. The one's two manner of people, right? Two different types of DNA. So it says, and one of the people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. Then here you go. DNA, you got to keep that in mind. When her days were to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. Same in Genesis. Cain and Abel were twins. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. Nowhere we ever see this. So I'll tell you something right there. This ain't none of Isaac's son. Says, and when her days were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb, and the first one came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came out his brother out, and he took a hold of his brother's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 6 years old, so it's a lot going on right there. So we know in that whole region, it's giants, redhead people, fire red people, redhead giants, and out in that whole region. So why is this boy right here, Harry with red head, with Harry red hair on him? Because it ain't none of Ain't none Isaac's son. Then you tell you get his demeanor. It says 29, and Jacob saw it. Oh no, go to, and after that came out his brother out, and his hand took hold. That's 26. His hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 70 years old, and she bore him. And the boys grew, right? So they make a point to tell you all this. The boys grew. Esau was a cunning hunter. That's what the Canaanites. As a matter of fact, the people on Mount Seir, I can't think of their names right now, but Horites. That's what the Horites did. So he come out a cunning hunter and a man of the field. That's what the Horites was. And Jacob was a plain man, just like Abel and Seth and Enoch and all them. Jacob was a plain man. There wasn't intense. DNA. And Isaac loved Esau. And because he did eat of his venison, but Rebecca loved Jacob. So we see right here, it's a lot going on right there, but we just read over same way we came. You got to ask yourself, why was Cain so wicked? You know, the first human born of a woman. Why is he so wicked? Because of when you go back and find out that serpent slept with Eve. So it's no different than what Isaac did when he met Rebecca in the field, and she took off of the camel and went in the tent and took her. Took mean to lie with a woman. That's what the serpent did. Took Eve. She already looking at him, googly-eyed, and tells you she looking at him to be desired, to make one wise, all this stuff, all these sexual connotations. So then he took her. He said he beguiled her, seduced her. So that's how you get Cain. And we see the same similarities. Cain and Abel was twins. Jacob and Esau were twins. Esau ain't Isaac's son. Just like Cain ain't none of Adam's son. And like I said, you have to understand that in order to rightly divide the scriptures. Okay? And I showed you too, these angels telling Abraham that the seed belonged to him. Just like in the garden, the seed, Abel was Adam's seed, but they tell you it was Eve's seed, because they're gonna go late. They're gonna come back to the New Testament now. Mary gonna have a baby without a man, so that's how. But she don't have no seed. She can't have no baby without a man. But they had to twist all that around in order to make the story work, to lead you to JC in the New Testament. But Abel is Adam's seed. Okay, that's the way the culture goes. That's where it was set in place by the Lord of Hosts, Yahweh. Any questions or comments? Okay, anybody got a scripture they want to read and we can break it down? Okay, everybody good? See if I can find one. Okay. Yeah, so I go back to where I was at. I go to Isaiah chapter 3. Okay, it says first chapter, Isaiah 3:16. Moreover, the Lord said, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with stretched forth necks and wu-tang eyes, and walking and mincing as they go, and making a tingling with their feet. Therefore the Lord will smite thee with a scab on the crown of their head, the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts. In that day the Lord will take away their, okay, so they haughty, right? It says the Lord will take away the bravery of their tingling ornaments about their feet, and the coils and the round tires like the moon, and the chains and the bracelets and the mufflers, the bonnets, the ornaments of the legs, the headbands, the tablets, and the earrings, the rings, the nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel, and the mantles, and the wimples, and the crisping pins, the glasses, and the fine linen, and the hoods, and the veils, and it shall come to pass. So just how we know now from this story how they get it because the Most High blessing the man, and he's bringing all this stuff to them and giving it to them. But they got beside themselves. So 24, and it shall come to pass that instead of a sweet smell, there shall be stench, and instead of a girdle, a rent, and instead of a well set hair, baldness, and instead of a stomach girdle, a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth, and a turning, a burning instead of a beauty. Now here you go. He blessed the men to give him that, so he's gonna take away the men. 25. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in war, and her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit down on the ground. So in order to judge them, he took away the man, because that's how they got it. That's the order thing. So many people read that, but they don't rightly divide it. So we take away in order to judge them. He took away the man, the source, so how they got all these things. Okay. Any comments or questions on that? Okay. Everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna say shalom, shalom, and another shalom. I see everybody. We got the women's line tomorrow, so the men come in through YouTube. So I'll see y'all tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central Time for the Women's Advanced Bible Study. Shalom.
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 I highly recommend that you get this book and you read it, because it's a must that you understand who God head is in the order that's in the Old Testament in Tanak, because it's not the same as in the New Testament. And when you read this and you get an understanding, then the scriptures open up, and then you begin to understand. So I highly recommend that you get this book. It's the Elohim of Israel, and it's a breakdown on the word Elohim and who the God of Israel is, and the Godhead.